palace in Malaysia has now confirmed that they will be naming a prime minister later this afternoon, and the former deputy prime minister Anwar Ibrahim will be sworn in as the next prime minister of Malaysia, appointed by the elected constitutional monarch here, the Sultan of Pahang. Now, this after the Sultan of Pahang decided to consult with the other royal families earlier today with regards to the deadlock that's really gripped Malaysia for the better part of the last couple of days, especially after that election that resulted in the first hung parliament in history. Now, both sides have not been able to come to an agreement as to forming a majority government. And in this instance, actually, the elected monarch, who is mostly ceremonial by nature, can actually choose who the next prime minister is based on his decision on who might actually command a majority. Now, it goes to show that Pakatan Harapan, which is the party led by former Deputy Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, actually commanded about 83 seats in the recent parliament, just narrowly pipping the Perikatan Nasional, which won about 72 seats. Now, Anwar is seen as being the more secular, relatively more secular party as compared to the more Muslim conservative-driven Perikatan Nasional, which means we might see a relatively more secular government actually coming into power as he's prime minister now. Now, whether or not he can actually come up with a majority in the parliament remains to be seen. We have to remember that Barisan Nasional did come out earlier today, as we reported earlier on, saying that they will support a unity government, but just not one led by the more conservative Perikatan Nasional, which means they could actually be convinced to sway, but they stopped short of coming out and explicitly backing Anwar Ibrahim. We have to remember that Anwar Ibrahim back in 1997-98 was actually in line to succeed then Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, but he was actually thrown in jail and ousted on charges actually of sodomy. So this represents a massive and very dramatic political comeback on his part, and sees him actually become the prime minister after about more than 2 decades actually, or 3 decades actually, of political questions, and also a handful of bouts actually in jail for various charges. But he is going to be the next prime minister of Malaysia. Whether or not he can hold on to power now is another question.